film opens with Grandma Mimi narrating a story to her granddaughter Joy, recalling how Joy showed extraordinary intelligence and creativity from an early age. Even as a child, Joy was constantly inventing clever solutions to everyday problems. She spent hours drawing houses and trees, imagining a future where she would one day live inside the world she created. Despite her early brilliance and imagination, Joy's life slowly drifted away from the promising path of an inventor as she grew older. The story then shifts to the present, where Joy is now a mother of two living under one roof with her mother, her grandmother, and her father. She carries the full weight of the household, working for an airline to financially support everyone. Her father Rudy, who has been separated from her mother for 17 years, contributes when he can, but Joy remains the primary caretaker. Overwhelmed and emotionally exhausted, Joy sinks into depression, isolating herself in her room and endlessly rewatching the same television program. Her emotional state prevents her from being fully present for her children or engaging in family life. The only person who consistently tries to uplift her and remind her of her strength is Grandma Mimi. The film then flashes back 17 years earlier, revealing the roots of Joy's emotional struggles. Her parents were constantly fighting in front of her, often so intensely that they would destroy the inventions she worked so hard to create. Their ongoing conflicts eventually led to their separation, after which Joy's mother completely withdrew, not just from Joy, but from the outside world as well. From a very young age, Joy was forced to take on adult responsibilities. As time passed, she abandoned her personal dreams, sacrificing college and her ambitions so she could care for her mother and work alongside her father. Instead of offering support, her mother remained emotionally distant and frequently added to Joy's burden. When Joy is 20 years old, she goes to a concert with her childhood friend Jackie, where she meets Tony, a singer who instantly captures her heart. Tony talks passionately about his dream of becoming one of America's most famous performers, and Joy feels deeply connected to him. She opens up about her own unrealized ambitions, explaining that she was once an exceptional student and a gifted inventor. She even describes inventing a dog collar designed to prevent animals from choking. Sensing her disappointment, Tony reassures her that her dreams haven't disappeared, only been postponed, and that she will eventually achieve them. The two perform a song together, and Joy's powerful voice impresses both Tony and the audience. Their public performance is a success, and their bond quickly turns into love. The couple decides to get married, but on the wedding day, Joy's father Rudy pulls her aside and tries to stop her, arguing that she would be better off marrying someone more traditionally successful, like a doctor or a lawyer. Irritated and hurt by his words, Joy ignores him and proceeds with the ceremony. During the reception, Rudy, clearly drunk, delivers a speech that spirals out of control. He publicly insults Joy's mother, recounts his 17 years of unhappiness, and praises his new partner instead. Joy and Tony are left in tears, and what should have been a joyful celebration turns into a humiliating disaster. As the years go by, Joy becomes the mother of 3 children, while Tony's dreams never materialize. Instead of becoming a successful singer, he ends up performing at small gatherings for minimal pay. Joy grows increasingly resentful of his irresponsibility, but Tony has no alternative place to live and remains in the family home, staying in the basement and contributing very little to raising their children. Their relationship deteriorates into constant arguments, largely because Tony refuses to look for stable employment, insisting that he is an artist who refuses to be trapped in a conventional, routine lifestyle. One morning, as Joy prepares for work, she discovers a pipe leaking in the house and immediately confronts her mother, who is responsible for clogging the plumbing. When Joy attempts to fix the problem herself, she quickly realizes it's beyond her abilities and that a plumber is needed. Grandma Mimi tries to calm her down, but the situation escalates when the doorbell rings. It's Rudy arriving with his new partner in tow, which only adds to Joy's frustration. With no other place to stay, Rudy moves back into the house, despite Joy's request that he avoid interacting with her mother. Instead, Rudy deliberately provokes her, igniting constant arguments that turn the home into a war zone. Caught in the middle, Joy desperately tries to keep Rudy and Tony, who deeply dislike each other, from fighting, begging them to stop before things get out of control. At work, Joy's stress follows her and she ends up arguing with a customer. Her supervisor responds by reassigning her to the night shift. Joy pleads with him, explaining that she has children and family responsibilities in the evenings, but her concerns are dismissed. When she returns home, she thanks her father for contributing to the household expenses. Her half-sister Peggy arrives shortly afterward, and together they overhear Rudy casually planning a date with another woman, shocking both of them since he had only recently ended his previous relationship. Later that evening, Rudy goes out with his new girlfriend, Trudy, a wealthy woman who owns a luxury car and a yacht inherited from her late husband. The following day, Trudy invites Rudy and his family aboard her yacht, but specifically warns him not to bring a particular drink that could damage the wooden deck. Rudy forgets the warning, and it turns out Tony brought the exact drink she warned against. A sudden wave knocks over the glasses, spilling the drink across the deck and shattering glass everywhere. Trudy explodes in anger, and as Joy rushes to clean up the mess, she accidentally cuts her hand. Back at the house, Tony and Rudy carefully remove the shards of glass from Joy's hand. In the middle of the chaos, Joy suddenly straightens up and demands silence, as though a realization has just struck her. Moments later, there's a knock at the door. The plumber has arrived. Joy brings him into her mother's bedroom, where her mother immediately complains about having a man in her private space. However, her resistance fades quickly when she realizes the plumber is French, and she becomes noticeably charmed, eventually allowing him to do his work. Joy attempts to go to bed, but stops herself and gathers the family to share something deeply personal. She explains that she suffers from the same recurring nightmare every night. In the dream, she finds herself trapped inside the television show her mother obsessively watches, where the characters kidnap her and carry her away to a distant place. She confesses that all she truly wants is a single night of peaceful sleep, free from fear and anxiety. Seeing how drained she is, Rudy hands her children's cough syrup, insisting it will help her rest. Completely exhausted, Joy collapses on the staircase, and Rudy and Tony gently carry her to her bedroom. That night, Joy dreams of herself as a child. Her younger self confronts her, telling her that she can't spend her life hiding from the world. The child reminds her that one day she must step forward, pursue her dreams, and reveal who she truly is. If she continues to hide, the dream warns, she will never understand her own potential or identity. Joy wakes up with a renewed sense of clarity and immediately begins making difficult decisions. She tells Tony that it's time for him to move out, explaining that they have been separated for 2 years and need to finally move forward with their lives. She then turns to her father and tells him he must also find his own place, urging him to ask Trudy to support her invention if he truly believes in their relationship. Rudy hesitates, admitting that he barely knows Trudy well enough to ask such a favor. Joy reminds him of everything she sacrificed for the family, abandoning her education, carrying adult responsibilities from a young age, and working in his factory to keep everyone afloat. Confronted with her words, Rudy finally agrees to stand by her and help. The family gathers at Trudy's factory, where Joy presents her invention, a self-cleaning mop designed to reach tight and difficult spaces that traditional mops cannot. She attempts to explain the concept using sketches, but no one fully understands what she's trying to create. Realizing her explanation isn't clear enough, Joy decides to refine her idea before moving forward. Trudy ultimately agrees to finance the project, but makes her position clear. If the invention fails, Joy alone will be responsible for repaying every dollar invested. To protect the invention, a lawyer is brought in to file the patent, and Joy is shocked to learn that the same lawyer also represents the factory she plans to work with. Soon after, the factory begins shipping mop parts, but the components arrive with design flaws. On top of that, the factory repeatedly sends invoices, charging Joy for mistakes that weren't her fault, adding to her growing stress. Completely drained by the mounting problems, Joy confronts the factory and refuses to cover the costs of their repeated design errors. Determined to regain control, she hires foreign laborers and undocumented workers to assemble the mops at a reduced cost. Through sheer determination, she manages to produce a large batch of mops in a short amount of time and begins pitching them to retail stores. However, the high price of the product discourages buyers, and store managers show little interest. Joy tries to explain that customers will never need to replace the mop once they buy it, but one salesman bluntly admits that he prefers selling cheap, disposable products because they generate repeat business. Refusing to give up, Joy takes matters into her own hands and begins selling the mops on the street with Jackie's help. Despite their efforts, passers-by ignore them completely. Jackie pretends to be a customer just to lift Joy's spirits, and Tony eventually shows up to offer moral support. Their attempt is cut short when police arrive and confiscate all the merchandise due to Joy's lack of a proper sales permit. Defeated, Joy returns home only to discover that the phone has been shut off because the bills haven't been paid. Her son is ill, and her daughter is in tears after being teased at school by a classmate who mocked her for selling mops on the street. Joy gently reassures her daughter, explaining that honest work is nothing to be ashamed of and that she is proud to be selling something she personally invented. Grandma Mimi tries to lift Joy's spirits, telling her that her strength and courage will one day lead her to success. Overwhelmed by exhaustion and embarrassment, Joy dismisses her grandmother's words, convinced that her efforts have only led to humiliation and failure. Just when Joy feels completely defeated, Tony unexpectedly shows up and suggests she pitch her invention to a former co-worker of his who now owns a nationwide retail chain and sells products on television. Moved by Tony's support, Joy agrees to try one more time. The following day, they travel to the company's headquarters, where they wait anxiously for their appointment. Unfortunately, Tony's former colleague apologizes and postpones the meeting, seemingly closing another door in Joy's face. Before they leave, the company's sales director, Neil, recognizes them and offers Joy a brief opportunity to present her product. Nervous and overwhelmed, Joy steps into the conference room and begins explaining her invention, struggling to find confidence. Neil quickly takes control of the conversation, boasting about his long list of successes and explaining that every product sold through his company reflects directly on him. He makes it clear that he will never allow someone with only a promising idea to jeopardize his reputation or business. Refusing to back down, Joy firmly states that she personally designed the mop and believes completely in its quality, usefulness, and long-term value for customers. As she continues, her confidence grows, and she demonstrates the product with clarity and conviction. Impressed, Neil brings in his television sales executives and selects his strongest presenter to showcase the mop on TV. He then gives Joy the opportunity she's been dreaming of, but with a massive condition: she must produce 50,000 mops within a single week. Joy immediately gathers her family and meets with Trudy, requesting $200,000 to cover production costs. Trudy views the investment as extremely risky and suggests splitting the financial burden, forcing Joy to mortgage the house a second time. Despite the danger, Joy agrees and pushes forward. The mops are produced on time, and the family gathers around the television for the live broadcast. To Joy's horror, the presenter fails to properly explain how the mop works or why it's special. Sales stall almost immediately, and the network cuts the segment short. As Joy watches her dream crumble on live television, Neil later calls to apologize, insisting that the failure was due to the product itself, not the presenter, and refuses to fully compensate her losses. Refusing to accept defeat, Joy returns to the company the very next day and forces her way into the conference room, demanding the chance to present her product herself. Neil pushes back, insisting that only well-known personalities are allowed on television and that the company never puts ordinary people in front of the camera. Joy stands her ground and reminds him that she was the one who convinced him the mop had value and that she personally delivered the 50,000 units he demanded. Reluctantly, Neil gives in and agrees to let her try. Before going on air, the styling team dresses Joy in an elegant gown, but she hesitates. After asking for a moment alone, she returns wearing simple pants and a shirt, explaining that this is who she really is and that she refuses to pretend to be someone she's not. After a brief pause, Neil agrees and allows her to present the product dressed authentically. Standing in front of the camera, Joy freezes as the broadcast begins, overwhelmed by pressure while her entire family watches from home. At that moment, she remembers Grandma Mimi's voice, recalling the night she cut her hand while cleaning broken glass on the yacht and kept working anyway. Reassured by that memory, Joy finds her rhythm and begins speaking naturally, confidently demonstrating the mop and explaining why she created it. Almost instantly, the phones begin ringing nonstop. Within less than 10 minutes, all 50,000 mops sell out completely. The studio erupts in applause, Neil is thrilled, and Joy's invention becomes an instant success, opening the door to multiple new product lines. Joy's business continues to grow rapidly, but the celebration is soon overshadowed by heartbreak when Grandma Mimi, the one person who never stopped believing in her, passes away. Still grieving at Grandma Mimi's funeral, Joy is hit with yet another blow when Rudy informs her that the factory has decided to raise its prices and has sent a representative to negotiate new terms. When Joy learns who the representative is, she is stunned. It's her sister Peggy, who harbors deep resentment and jealousy toward her. Peggy explains that she paid Joy's overdue bills without permission, which infuriates Joy since she had explicitly asked that no one interfere. Peggy then delivers the final blow, revealing that the factory plans to raise the price of each part by $2, a change that would result in devastating financial losses. Determined to confront the situation head-on, Joy travels to California and discovers that the factory has been secretly copying her mop design using different molds. When she tries to confront management, she is accused of trespassing and arrested. Trudy steps in and pays her bail, but the damage has already been done. Joy's lawyer explains that by paying the outstanding bills, Peggy unintentionally transferred key ownership rights, allowing the factory to legally claim the patent. To make matters worse, Neil's company now considers suing Joy for fraud, arguing that she sold them a product whose design rights were compromised. Rudy breaks the final news. Joy is more than $500,000 in debt, and bankruptcy is the only option left if she wants to avoid losing the house. He apologizes for pushing her to believe she could be more than a homemaker and for encouraging her to take on a business of this scale. Trudy adds that Joy lacks the instincts required to succeed in business and insists she will never make it. Crushed after sacrificing everything for her dream, Joy signs the bankruptcy papers, convinced that the world punishes ambition and steals opportunity from those who dare to try. After signing the bankruptcy papers, Joy tells everyone to leave her alone. She retreats into the bathroom, cuts her hair, and spends the entire night carefully rereading every contract and legal document, searching for anything she may have overlooked. As exhaustion gives way to clarity, Joy begins to see a path forward. The next morning, she leaves home and travels to a hotel in another city, where she arranges a meeting with the director of the factory responsible for stealing her designs. Calm and composed, Joy reveals that she personally contacted the company's headquarters in Hong Kong and spoke directly with upper management. The executives there were completely unaware of the patent transfers, royalty payments, and inflated invoices. As a result, the factory director now faces serious accusations, including fraud, theft, embezzlement, and forgery. Panicked, the director immediately offers to refund the money Joy paid through the fraudulent invoices, but she refuses to respond. Desperate to avoid legal consequences, he agrees to repay every dollar with interest and restore full ownership of the patent to her. Joy ensures everything is put in writing and has him formally sign documents confirming the agreement. From that moment on, Joy's life transforms. She launches her own company built on integrity and respect, creating a space where inventors are welcomed and supported the way she was never supported herself. She goes out of her way to help others, even arranging accommodations and personal attention for inventors with families, ensuring they are treated with dignity. Joy purchases a large home where her family can finally live in peace, and Tony becomes her trusted friend and business advisor. Over time, Joy secures a powerful position in the market, registering more than 100 patents for everyday household products. Through resilience, determination, and belief in herself, Joy finally achieves the future she once thought was impossible. And make sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this. And you can find this movie in the description below or our comment section. Thanks for watching.